report.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't know. I would love to know kind of what Spring Grove is stepping into, but I'm not really sure.
I think you have to give
they're
them
obviously playing at home.
Right.
They're the higher seed. They're a well-coached team. On paper, they should win. I don't know if they have this dangerous opponent stepping in here that makes some noise. I couldn't answer that.
It's hard to
question.
answer that really because I think you could ask people who cover Spring 4 and they wouldn't know what to say about Spring Grove. It's hard to say when you don't cover these teams. But I think the first 2 games that Spring Grove has, they'll definitely have very realistic chances to win. Then, of course, they're going to run into Reading, potentially, unless Reading gets knocked off in the quarters. Now we're speaking really far ahead because both get knocked off before. Reading's really good. You never say never, but that's a very talented team.
I also want to say I think Chester, who I believe, if I'm looking at this bracket correctly, Chester plays Field.
Yep.
I think Chester traditionally has a good program. Now, what they are this year, I can't answer that question, but I think they have some very good players, typically. I think Central might be having a similar scenario here. They play CB West to open up things, and then they would probably face Roman Catholic, who I think is nothing short of quite good as well. So it will be interesting. Christian, how do you think the Panthers respond after, again, now I'm going to say right now, this team plays with crazy heart.
Yeah.
I thought, again, I have been really lowballing them all year. I'm going to be the first one to say I've given them really a lack of respect from Teddy Feinberg. I thought they would take care of them. And far from it. I going into that game, I said, I just want to see Central be competitive for 3 quarters. They were. How do you think they respond entering state tournament play now?
I think it helps that just from the sense that I got after that game, it was kind of what you would call a Spring Grove kind of reaction, is that they didn't seem too down on them. So obviously they're disappointed, but they battled with a tough team in the district. Reading has a lot of good players, including Lonnie Walker, who's arguably one of the best players in the state. And the fact that they made it competitive twice, and they came back from double-digit deficits twice and pulled within 1 with an opportunity to take the lead, it says a lot about their heart. It says a lot about the character.
Their coaching.
Exactly.
I feel like they have an outstanding coach.
And I think they thrive upon that kind of underdog mentality because, and I think we've talked about it before, the same with how, because there are so many good players in our league, we kind of overlook Jared Wagner. There are so many good teams in our league, we kind of overlook Central as,
I think so.
At some point they're going to have to fall off, and it's just never been that situation. They've always battled and fought hard, and so I think they respond. I think they get at least win to get to the second round in the state tournament. After that, it's kind of up in the air. And I think that's the same way with every other team.
Definitely.
I think Spring Grove gets a win. And
I would agree.
I
The first round, I like the chances, and then you kind of start looking and you say, it might get a little dicey here. But Central, as you alluded to, has been surprising all year long. So no need to stop here. What were your impressions of Walker, Lonnie Walker?
The first quarter, first half, really, he was very underwhelming. He only put up about 9 points, if I remember correctly, and then he went off for like 16, 17 in the second half, and that's when you saw Reading really start to take advantage, and really, and those points when Central started to catch up, that's when you saw Lonnie Walker be a little bit more productive, because I think he knew he needed to get his team back in the game, but when he was on, and he was a good player, and there's a lot of hype around him, and it was kind of comical, might not be the word, but it was very interesting to see the fans' reactions to him even after the game. He was signing autographs after the game.
Are you kidding me?
There were kids coming up for autographs, so it was a very interesting situation.
I'm going to say right now that's weird.
Eli Brooks signs autographs for Spring Grove kids, I think.
Are you kidding me?
No. Or at least they go up to him for pictures all the time.
Why?
I'm pretty sure he gets, because he's like a local celebrity.
He's a local celebrity. He's a high school junior bat. He's signing autographs. He seems a little silly to me.
For
a little.
He's not Amari Stoudemire.
For Eli, it's cool. I think that's it's a special connection that Spring Grove has with their community, and the basketball team has with their community. For Lonnie Walker, though, it was interesting because you knew that people were getting his autograph, because there are people in the state who think he's going to end up playing. He's going to play major Division I basketball.
Honestly, I don't know the first thing about him, but people are getting his autograph. Like, this guy could be playing.
He's being looked at by Nova, Louisville, Miami.
I think he's playing for the Minnesota Timberwolves one day.
That's what I'm saying. I think if you're looking for an autograph like that, you're thinking he's going to the NBA someday. You're trying to cash in on and getting that signature early.
How did Central try to guard him? Because they have nobody with his size or his quickness.
Really good question.
Did they go zone, or what were they trying to do?
They were playing a lot of zone. zone for a good chunk of the game, and I think that was the way they played all through as my microphone falls down.
There's some technical difficulties.
And that's the way they played really the entire game was play zone, and I think it kind of went with whether Walker was really putting his all into it and whether he's kind of holding back and being a little more lax, because you could tell the difference at certain points when you're like, oh yeah, I forgot Lonnie Walker's out on the court right now, when Central's, forcing some turnovers and playing good defense and getting some quick transition buckets.
What type of jump shot does he have? Because the highlights you kind of see on Twitter are like crazy alley-oops that he has. Can he kind of
shoot.
Yeah.
He can shoot. I think he had a couple threes in that game. But he's got a good jump shot. So, I mean, a lot of his flashy plays, I think with any basketball player, come from, those flashy alley-oops or dunks or whatever. But he's got a good jump shot. He's a very entertaining ball player.
And again, when you're 6'5", and you have a college body, athletic body, knows where he's going to grow. I mean, if you can play the game, then all the better. I mean, he obviously has skills. He has the physical makeup, and he's just a junior. So, there's big things coming. And I think, in Eli's case, we talk about Eli Brooks pretty often. If he can grow a couple inches, the difference between 6'1", he's 6'1" right now, I believe, to 6'3" is big. The difference between 6'3" to 6'5" is huge. It's huge. It's huge. So that's really important. I want to talk about another really good player. I actually saw him play. Yes, I did go up to Hershey. Matt alluded to it on Thursday. I saw Eastern play. And I'm trying to remember the kids. Who was the kid on Bishop McDevitt? Williams. I believe it was James Williams. He was a great player. We're talking, I'd say about 6'5", same deal. Good hops, really played well. And, I want to say 23 points, 11 boards and blocks. He balled out.
Okay stat line, I guess.
Maybe
people almost got tripled up with blocks.
I think his last block, actually, they blew the whistle on it. He definitely had one they blew a whistle on. So he was a really good player. McDevitt rolled in that game. Eastern, I don't think played their strong game clearly. Christian, you were there too. You probably would agree with that. I think they were a little down in that game. They seem to be rushing offensively. They clearly shoot the ball well. There was the second quarter, I want to say they actually held Bishop McDevitt to 6, which was like a Herculean effort, but they only scored 5.
Right. And
they just weren't going to win the game when you do that type of stuff. And they definitely need to hit from deep. They want to beat McDevitt on the glass. So they lost big, and now play Imhotep. And I definitely know I pronounced that correctly. They play them in the first round. Eastern has had a great year. I really do. They had a double-digit win streak at one point. They were knocking teams off left and right. Northeastern, when they were locally, Eastern gave them a huge run for their money. And we'll see how they respond after, not... Again, McDevitt was very good, and Eastern did not play a good title game for the District 3 Class 3A championship. So we'll see how they respond, in the first round game against Imhotep. Again, that's a 7:30 start Friday at West High School. Do you have anything to add to that?
I think you kind of hit it there. It's been very fun run for Eastern. I think they surprised a lot of people.
No question.
They played a lot of good ball, and I think out of some of those teams, they caught a lot of people by surprise. But I think you're right. I think once they hit states, it's kind of. I think you kind of saw with Bishop McDevitt that the Magic may have kind of run out at this point.
McDevitt was a better team,
and they kind of like Central have a lot of heart, but I don't know if they have the same firepower that maybe a Central has that could win a game or two in the state tournament.
Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. They've had a great season. I know. Again, that was the first time really seeing them play this year. I'll be the first. Well, definitely was. I don't get to the games. I get to the games in the District 3 tourney, but I know for a fact they didn't play the way they're capable of playing. Mm-hmm. So they just have to get better and play better. So they play Friday at 7:30 p.m. Just kind of backtracking here, Central and Spring Grove play Saturday. They both play at West York High School. The Spring Grove game against Springford tips at 6. Central plays CB West at 7:30 tip-off. Back to Class 3A, Gettysburg. They played Newman Goretti first round last year, and that was
lost by 48.
That was an insurmountable. That was David versus Goliath. And now they play Delaware Valley Charter, and it has a similar feel.
I think Del Valle Charter actually beat Newman Goretti about a week ago. So it's that.
Good luck,
that gives
guys.
You a little bit of a. And Gettysburg, they followed the same path 2 straight years. Last year they were an 11 seed.
So.
This year they go into the tournament as a district tournament as a 10 seed. Very
so.
Up and down regular season, and they win the 10-7 matchup, which is really all they needed to do to put themselves in good position for states. Because even if they lost the next game, you only have to win one consolation game to get into the top 7 and make it. and that's what happened. So, they're in the state playoffs again, which is great for them. I think they're 14-10 this year. It's a nice accomplishment for their senior class to go 2 straight years, but they're running into a buzzsaw. And I never like saying never. I give them a shot, maybe get hot from 3, but it's going to be an uphill climb.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a tough matchup. There's no doubt about that. And, you got to go on the road, and then you're playing this great team, and you're in Philly, and best of luck to them. Hopefully, no,
you do.
Hopefully they just go out and they play. You know what? Hopefully they go out and they play the best they can play. That's all you can ask for. It's kind of like Eastern. Like, was Eastern going to beat McDevitt? Probably not. But you know what? You just want to see the team play up to their capabilities.
I think last year Gettysburg actually kept it close for the first quarter before it got out of hand. And I don't want to say it's like an accomplishment. Oh, you kept it close for a quarter. But like after the team, when you read the story, they're like, you know what? We did the best we could. At least we know we did our best. And that's what you're looking for this year. If you can even keep it close for half, know that you could play with them for a little while, that's kind of an accomplishment. Because honestly, making the state tournament for a team like Gettysburg that was 12-8 after the regular season is a big deal.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, York Country Day, they host Sullivan County, and we talked about Country Day. They're 22-0. They've had a great year. They're at Dallastown Friday, 6 p.m. start. Sullivan County sports a 22-4 record. Again, you'd like to see Country Day win this. Again, obviously undefeated. They definitely proved that by going outside and winning the District 3 championship, that it wasn't just a local thing. So, we'll see how they do moving forward here. It'd be great to see some of our teams get some W's, as Matt and Christian alluded to, get some W's under their belt to open up tournament play, and then just kind of see where the chips fall from there. Do you guys have anything to add from a boys basketball standpoint?
I'm a little curious real quick. How do you think York Country Day does if they play more of the York teams, which we never really get to see them?
Brandon's really the York Country Day expert. Just from what I've read.
He's the beat writer.
Yeah. From what I understand, I think that maybe they could play competitively with the AAA team.
Yeah.
It'd be really interesting to see with some of the talent they have, because they do, Darius Brown obviously coming from Northeastern. They have talent that has played for these league schools, and so it'd be interesting to see how they play out. I think they could win or two against some of these.
It'd be
teams
interesting how they would play in Division 3. York Catholic was probably the one team that could match them with kind of the athleticism and quickness. I'd like to see that kind of matchup, how they work against the rest of the D3 teams. They only played Fairfield this year, who they beat twice, and we really just don't know how. I know, I was just curious because they were so good this year. And they're in our area, but we really don't know how they stack up against the rest of the teams from our area.
I have a hunch that Brandon would say that they would compete. No, I really do.
Yeah, I think he told me that he thinks they're like a top tier Division 3 team.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious about your thoughts.
It's interesting, because like I said, Brandon's the beat writer, as Teddy said, for that school.
All over that school.
He knows that in and out. So I mean, I would probably agree with Brandon's perspective. He's probably got the best grasp on it.
I mean, truthfully, I'm just looking at it, from the 30,000-foot view. Brown was a very good player at Northeastern. I mean, so needless to say, if you figure if he was playing D3, he'd be a pretty good player, very good player in D3. I mean, one would figure. But they've had a great year, obviously, and again, tip of the hat to them for winning the District 3 tournament on their end. It'll be interesting to see how things shake out this weekend.
Definitely.
We will be back. We're going to talk girls hoops game day with GameTime PA.
It's a boys quad A first-round state basketball playoff doubleheader presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine Saturday at 5:45. First, District 3 third seed Spring Grove faces off against District 1 fourth place finisher Springford. Then District 3 runner-up Central York takes on District 1's 5 seed Central Bucks West. Being the higher seeds has earned the Rockets and Panthers games at West York, while their opponents must travel 2 hours. Spring Grove, Springford, followed by Central York, Central Bucks West, Saturday at 5:45 on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Did you know that Shipley Energy can take care of all your energy needs? From heating oil and propane to providing your home with electricity and natural gas. We also provide heating and air conditioning service and installation. All of your energy needs are under one roof at Shipley Energy. To learn more, visit shipleyenergy.com. Call 855-4-SHIPLEY and don't forget to ask about our $100 rebate. Shipley Energy. Energy for life.
Security life isn't something you just wish for. You build it with a strong financial plan. Start with Northwestern Mutual. Together, we'll design a disciplined and balanced approach to financial security, because reaching your goals is something we both want to work toward. To learn, contact me, Dan McGarry at my office on the square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm West York boys basketball coach Bill Ackerman. You're listening to Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
We're back. Game Day with GameTime PA here on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. Teddy Feinberg, Christian Arnold, Matt Allabone. We are here 4 to 5 on our live stream on Game Day with GameTimePA.com radio. And we are on WOYK 1350 from 6 to 7 p.m. So we're here every single Thursday talking YAIAA sports. And I know for a fact our live stream is back up and running now as well. So, yeah, that's great news. We talked boys basketball last segment, looking back at the District 3, looking ahead to the state tournament, and we are going to do something very similar yet on the girls' side this time around. And I guess first things first, fellas, what stood out to you from the District 3 girls hoops tournaments, if anything at all?
Well, on our side, we just had New Oxford and DeLone, and give a shout out to New Oxford because they actually won a game and took the number 2 seed Governor Mifflin.
Their
really
record
close.
when Kunkel wears red pants is just nothing short.
Yeah,
of
which is, and
astounding.
that's why I said they were the 15th seed. They played the number 2 seed Governor Mifflin, and he didn't wear the red pants, and they lost by 5.
Well,
so I think we need to blame them. But
they had a great, they had a good year,
and they don't lose anybody. Literally, all junior and sophomores were their rotation this year, so they'll be a very good team to watch in our area next year.
Off.
And then DeLone, honestly, to get to the semifinals and to play Camp Hill as tough as they did, they were leading Camp Hill by 1, who, of course, ended up beating York Catholic. Mm-hmm. They were leading by 1 going to the fourth quarter. And then lost hold of the game, lost by like 10. And
Camp Hill was good.
Yeah, and Coach
Camp Hill was real good.
Jerry Eckenrode was very much just like, we should have won. He thought they were just as good. I mean, when you're up by 1 in the fourth quarter, you got to feel that way. But to come back and beat Wyomissing in the third place game, to make states, they didn't make it last year. They made it like the previous, since I think 2008 until 2014. So they make it a lot. So it's good for the program to get back there. It's good for the senior class to make it as a seniors when they didn't make it last year as a junior. And he was very much up front when I asked them about Newman Goretti. He just goes, have you ever seen them play? And he goes, like, we're going to Philadelphia. We're going to have a fun time.
You do the math.
Yeah, he's like, we're going to Philadelphia. We're going to have a fun time. It's one more game for us, but it's going to be a challenge. So he knows what the situation is. Very similar situation to Gettysburg. I wrote a short story on that. Like, they're just 2 teams with uphill battles against 2 of the best teams in the state.
Yeah, no doubt. No, good analysis. What about you?
York Catholic, obviously, they're having their bid for an 11th straight district title snapped to Camp Hill. Camp Hill, obviously, just said a very good team. York Catholic just, it was surprising. I think that we all would have bet money that York Catholic probably would have won that game just because, for whatever reason, they've managed to defy the odds for 10 straight years and win a district title regardless of all the change. And it really was surprising just looking at the history of how much around that program has changed. Even just the world around them has changed since the last time they hadn't won a district title, all the way back in 2005, I believe it was the last time that a school other than Catholic has won a district title.
10 years is 10 years. It's a fairly sizable chunk of time.
But it was still surprising. Kate Bayhoff obviously still put up a tremendous number of points. I think she finished the game with 26.
She had 26 and they scored 40. She didn't have enough help.
I think that was the biggest problem. And I think that really was the biggest thing all season for York Catholic is that it really was Kate Bayhoff. And I mean, you have Wright there and you have Laszlo, but really they're not the scorers that you need to surround a player like Kate Bayhoff with.
I want to say this, though. They're all coming back.
Yeah.
They're going to be good next year. They're going to be real good next year. And Camp Hill, you're totally right. Like, Bayhoff, like, she scored 26, they scored 40. Anyone can look at this box score and figure out what's going on here behind this. Camp Hill, on the other hand, Leah Springer, their forward, she's
awesome.
Ball.
Everything.
Dude, she can ball. She could handle the ball. She could pass the ball. She could shoot the 3. She could take it to the 10. So she finished with 31 double-digit boards.
She was outstanding in that game, and there was no real answer for that. I mean, anyone they tried to put on her, she just found open space and got shots. And even when you could get a hand in front of her shot, I mean, they still dropped. It was stunning to watch.
She was stunning, and I want to say this: their point guard could play. Diamond Bragg, she only finished 6 or 7 points, ran the show, got to the bucket whenever she wanted, finished with the left hand real well. She was a good player. Those two just were better than Bayhoff. They had more fire with those two alone than Kate was a one-horse show.
And I think that's kind of also speaks to how miraculous that York Catholic's run this season was. When you think about the district teams that they got, they had to beat to get there, and then the fact that they played so many teams,
no doubt,
very tough teams alone, tough teams that, I mean, they really relied on Bayhoff and kind of everyone else to play that supporting role, when really Bayhoff was their kind of go-getter for the year.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And again, their season's not done either, obviously. They are playing, they're at home. They're playing, is it Bodine? They're playing Bodine at home, 7:30 p.m. start, Dallastown High School Friday night. So they do get a home game. And they're no strangers to the situation.
And I think out of the girls we have going to the States, I think that York Catholic is probably the one that makes the longest run at the very least.
I think they can. I wouldn't sleep on Red Lion either. Red Lion had a really good year. They're a very well coached
They've got the talent.
team. They do have the talent. They have the coach. Demo's been there, 20-plus years. It's not like this isn't his first rodeo.
Right.
They clearly hit a
They have
skid.
senior leadership.
Yeah, they hit a skid in the district tournament, but if they can get back to what they did most of the year, they're good enough to go on a
I'm
run.
not going to be worried about going on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a good team. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how things shake out there. But and like I just said about Catholic, I want to say one more time, a lot of their players are coming back, including Bayhouse. So they're going to be back and better than ever next year. Did you guys see Christian School of York play at all during the district?
I haven't, but they're also kind of they're kind of a York Country Day.
They finished third.
They're kind of that Cinderella story, I think, out of the girls' side as well.
So they finished in third place. They're going on the road to Wellsboro High School to face North Penn Mansfield. So that's games on Saturday at 7 p.m. Again, we mentioned Catholic. Their Friday, 7:30 p.m. tip at Dallastown. We mentioned DeLone Catholic. Their Friday, 6 p.m. tip. They're playing at Archbishop Ryan High School, which is in Philly. They're playing Newman and Goretti, which they'll have all they can handle there. York Suburban, what happened with them during districts? I mean, they had a great year. Here's the thing with Suburban. This is what I'm going to hypothesize, okay? I'm going to sit here and hypothesize that they, locally, in the York Adams, tough team, gritty team, defensively great. I can't tell you how many 35-29 games I felt like they won. Defensive team, they wear their hard hat to work every single day. The issue is once you start facing some teams with some real deal firepower, it's tough to hang. Is that how it went down?
I think that's a fair analysis. They didn't have too much firepower on their end. They had Molly Day and Olivia Gettle, if I'm not mistaken. And those were kind of their main stars, I guess you could say, in quotations, that kind of carried a lot of load this season for York Suburban. And it's a program that's been on the rise the last couple of years, it seems like. And I think another shot at states and another opportunity to get this under their belt is only going to make that program better.
I agree. Barley's done a nice Jess Barley's done a nice job there, and they had a nice year. They jostled with Susquehannock all year for the top spot in YAI AAD2. Now they're playing Southern Lehigh. That's a 4:30 p.m. start. That's at Freedom High School in Bethlehem. That's on Saturday. So we'll see how things shake out there. And we mentioned Red Lion. They are on the road. They are playing
Perkiomen Valley?
I can't pronounce this. Perkiomen Valley. They're playing them. I can't pronounce the high school either. Wissahickon High School in Ambler at 7:30 p.m. That's a Friday start as well. Again, Red Lion's not going to be shook about going on the road. The issue here is that Perkiomen is 25-2. They're the number 1 seed, so they look nothing short of legit.
Yes, they're off. I believe I think it's their first district title in District 1 or something to that effect. So they're a good team, and they've obviously had a pretty good season. And we're just going to call them the Vikings because no one can say their actual school name.
The Vikings, yeah. The Vikings they have a nice little team. Now, you wrote kind of a state playoff kind of look ahead on the girls' side of things. Any key predictions, players to watch, teams that you think can make a run? You mentioned York Catholic. You think might be able to spring a win or two. What are you thinking?
I mean, players to watch, obviously, going to be Bayhoff for York Catholic and Courtney Hoff for Red Lion, too, obviously.
No doubt.
The most prolific shooters.
That's kind of a layup, if you will.
Yeah. They're two of the most prolific scorers on the girls' side of things. So they're obviously going to be players to watch. But I kind of predicted that York Suburban and Red Lion, looking at their schedules in the state tournament, they're probably going to have the toughest road out of all our teams going in on the girls' side. Because I mean this Vikings team for Red Lion is obviously one that, again, coming off their first district title, they're a very good club up in District 1. And anytime you're a 7th seed, going up against a 1 seed, it's you have an uphill
Tough
battle.
draw.
Automatically
Tough
uphill
draw
battle.
for a team that's had a good year, but again, they really slipped in districts,
Right.
and if you do that, you're going to be in for a world of hurt.
Right. I mean, maybe they surprise people and they kind of get on that roll again. They find that hot streak, and they get a win in the first round. And it's kind of similar situation with Suburban. They're playing a very good team, finishing seeded sixth in the state tournament. It's kind of the same situation when you're going up against a 2 seed, I believe it is, something to that effect. It's never an easy battle. So Suburban and Redline kind of in the same boat. The difference with Redline and Suburban, though, is Redline obviously has the Courtney Dimoff, the sharpshooter.
There's some senior leadership.
And they've been here before. Even some of those other players, Amy Machuski, who was key in the league tournament, has been productive for them for the most part of the season. So they have other players that can step up too. For Suburban, it kind of like you alluded to, they seem more of a gritty kind of. They'll beat you defensively. They'll play tight.
They're going to outwork you.
Right, but if you have teams coming in with a little more skill and fire, sometimes hard work doesn't necessarily always win out.
Yeah, what's that saying? I mean, if you're a coach, just for the record, you always want the skill over the hard work. I mean, you need hard work, right? But honestly, I've seen a lot of good players make good coaches. A good coach can only take an average player so far.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. You see that case in teams around here all the time. Bermudian Springs, their coach, Tom Flaherty, this year, one of the best coaches around. Everyone in the area will tell you that. They didn't have a lot of talent this year, so they were one of the worst teams.
I think they played about as well as they possibly could have.
So.
And they finished about 500.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how things shake out. Do you have any thoughts or feelings, predictions going into that?
Right. It's just to see from my side of things, can DeLone at least hang with Newman Goretti for most of the game or a half, make things competitive because they got an uphill battle. It's the biggest thing.
It'll be interesting to see Christian School of York. Christian, they've been overlooked this season. I would totally agree with that. They go on the road, but they have some talent, obviously. And we'll see if they can give North Penn Mansfield a run for their money.
The one thing I do want to add, and it's kind of a mix of both, is the fact that obviously I'm still kind of new here and still just the fact that so many teams get into the state tournament. And for me, it kind of takes away some of that specialness.
I don't disagree with your analysis at all.
And then we're playing for first, second, third makes sense. Fine. Fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Like it kind of gets to a point where,
you probably could cut this field in half and still get
some
the
of the
same
teams,
results.
we could cut down the state tournament. It doesn't necessarily have to be as long as it is. The district tournament doesn't necessarily have to be as long as it is.
I mean,
on both
spring sports are about to start.
Right.
And they still got, for these teams that are going to go far, they've got a lot of basketball left to play.
And my same feeling was with football too. When we were still in football season, and I think we were in like December, and I would hear, our sports clerks started reading off the agate for like the state double, triple qualifier
72
games.
to 3.
And you're just like, football's still going on?
Yeah.
I thought we were in basketball season. It gets to that point where having so many teams make it, and I think it's kind of a problem that's eclipsed not only here, a lot of other leagues and sports and situations.
What's the point of sending, a Gettysburg or a DeLone on the road to Philly just to get fed to the Lions?
Right.
Yeah.
For me, it kind of, like I said, kind of takes away some of that specialness that takes just to get there and just to battle for those top 3 spots or top 4 spots.
I would agree. I think that's I'm going to venture to say probably most states are dealing with a similar issue. They want to expand the playoff field. I know for a fact in New Mexico, I'm not speaking about Pennsylvania, but it was an opportunity to get some home games, get some crowds in the building, get some money. And again, there's probably too many classifications also, right? Like, you expand these things, then you kind of dilute the talent, and then it's like, what for? But I'm going to sit here and venture to say most places, if not all of them, are dealing with that. But you're right.
No, and I mean, not to pick. I mean, I'm sure these other schools, the Gettysburgs and whatnot, enjoy the fact that they get that opportunity to make it to the state tournament. But still, I think for some, I would assume that it would feel a little bit better if that you made it. 1, 2, 3, like your program really, not to say that some of these schools didn't deserve it, but they really worked to reach that penultimate level to earn that spot in the States.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I don't disagree with one word you said. I think Daryl Henry is back now. I think we can go on commercial break, and I think what we can do next is talk high school swimming, touch on high school wrestling, high school swimming. Well, we have our District 3 tournament coming up this weekend, and of course wrestling. I believe they are in sectionals.
Yes,
so,
regionals. Yeah,
regionals. My apologies. So we'll be back talking those. Thanks.
Looking for something cool to do this weekend? Come to the coolest place in town and learn to play hockey or figure skate at the York Ice Arena. The York Ice Arena offers a Learn to Skate program for skaters of all ages and abilities, directed by ISA and USFSA qualified instructors. Skating classes range from beginner to freestyle. Hockey classes cover the basics of the game. All classes include free skate rental and 5 free skating passes, so you can try out your new skills. And remember, the coolest place in town is also available for the coolest birthday party in town. Host your birthday bash in group spaces or with a private ice rental. Public skating at the York Ice Arena is available afternoons, evenings, and weekends. Skate for just $7 and rent your skates for just $3. Plus, you can save with discount pass books. Oh, and ask about gift cards and kids' prepaid debit cards. So if you're looking to learn something cool, come to the coolest place in town and learn to skate at the York Ice Arena. For more information and to register, go to yorkskate.com.
Payne doesn't take Sunday off. Neither do we. We're open weekdays 8 to 8 and weekends 9 to 6. Just walk into WellSpan Urgent Orthopedics, 2319 South George Street in York, across from the Apple Hill Health Campus. Visit wellspan.org/urgent orthopedics today.
Getting pumped for another year of high school basketball? Tune in to Sports Radio 1350 WOIK as we lay it all out for you in the High School Basketball Spotlight. Presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine. To preview every day this month leading up to tip-off on Sports Radio 1350. We'll break down the teams and the players of this year's York Adams League. Or go to WOIK1350.com for this year's complete lineup of high school basketball previews. And this winter, catch 2 games a week, including the High School Basketball Game of the Week every Friday. Presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine and only here on Sports Radio 1350.
Sports Radio 1350 WOIK honors the Shipley Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's Shipley Energy Boys Student Athlete of the Week is Blaine Yinger of Northeastern Wrestling. He won 3 of his 4 bouts in overtime en route to the 285-pound Class AAA title at this past weekend's District 3 tournament. And this week's Shipley Energy Girls Student Athlete of the Week is Erica Sarver of West York Swimming. Sarver beat out Northeastern's Lindsay Pope by scoring 415.8 points to take the District 3 Class AA Girls Diving Championship. She finished over 7 points ahead of Pope and beat 3rd place by over 60 points. For Sports Radio 1350 WOIK, I'm Ray Jensen.
Get your home ready for fall and winter and sign up for the Shipley Energy Protection Plan. For more information, visit shipleyenergy.com. Your teams all the time. York's only place for local sports. Sports Radio 1350 WOIK.
Welcome back. Game Day with GameTime PA here on Sports Radio 1350 WOIK. We're on the home stretch here, 4:55 p.m. We're taking you to 5 p.m., and we are going to talk high school wrestling, high school swimming. High school wrestling has regional tournaments here this weekend. Matt, you want to give some shout-outs to some guys who performed well at the district?
Yeah, we just had districts last weekend, and we had 3 district champions from AAA. Dalton Rohrbach from Spring Grove at 106 pounds. Owen Worley from Southwestern at 138, and Blake Yinger from Northeastern. And then from AA, we got Caleb Garland of Hanover and Nate Newberry of Biglerville. So shout out to those guys for winning district.
Really impressive performances. I know putting together Athlete of the Week, Andy Meese was up there. I texted him in the morning, hey, Andy, you got to get me some kids I can put in here. Right. He sent me 5, and he said it's really hard to put one over the other. But I believe Yinger and there was one other that really stood out. Let me just get it up here. Yinger, obviously, he won 3 of his 4 bouts in OT, which is really impressive. Yeah. And Garland absolutely dominated the final 126 pounds. So,
and he almost lost that by basically kind of forfeiting because he had an illegal slam of the wrestler, and if the other guy couldn't go, he would have won by default. But thankfully, the other guy could wrestle. didn't try to win that way and actually wrestled him, and he won 14-3. So big for him.
Yeah, big for him for sure. So those guys obviously responded really well. So big ups to all those kids. Best of luck in regionals. Of course, state tournament is next week. So they still have plenty of postseason to play, as we all do. Also, high school swimming, District 3 tournament, Class 3A championship meet will be held Friday and Saturday at Cumberland Valley. If you are all about it, go to GameTime PA right here, right now, and check out Steve Navaroli has a couple previews. He wrote a story on Drew Wilson, Northeastern swimmer, who is the son of Matt Wilson, who is the Northeastern volleyball coach. And if you haven't been here for very long, Matt Wilson is a sensational coach in Northeastern, and his son Drew is a swim athlete. So that's an intriguing story. Nav's kind of the swimming guru around here. He included some key storylines to watch with the upcoming swim tournament this weekend. So definitely check it out on GameTimePA.com. It's great content as always. And speaking of great content on GameTime PA, couple stories. Definitely want to throw a shout out to Jim Sipe. He did a story on Hal Brown, former William Penn student athlete who took his talents to San Diego State. Great place to go play college basketball. This was a long time ago. I want to say he played at San Diego State maybe in the 1950s, 1960s.
Yeah.
But in any event, he said he didn't know San Diego from Russia when he went out there. But
really a story worth reading. Yeah. Really this guy had to go through. You keep thinking that, eventually as you go through each part of the story, you'll get to, the happy part, and it keeps you wow, he went through so many trials and tribulations time after time and kept fighting to have a successful life and be a civil rights movement guy.
Civil rights movement, yeah. He really fought as a civil rights activist out there. He went out there. He went to San Diego State. As said, he played ball at San Diego State, and then he made his life out there, and he really did a lot of incredible things for the community, the African-American community. It's definitely a story well worth reading. So I want to give a shout-out to Sipe and the outstanding work he always does. When he really gets involved, he definitely can. He can mix it up with the best of them. There was another interesting story. Christian Arnold wrote a column about Jared Wagner. I know we talked a lot about high school hoops, but Wagner obviously fell under some heat. This to me is completely ridiculous. The kid was fired up. He had a great state tournament. He got excited about it. Talk about a little bit in your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, the story.
Christian wrote a column on this.
The point of the story was to highlight just kind of the two sides of the issue, about how for some fans, and I think for the amount of times that Spring Grove and Central met, it was a lot of Spring Grove fans don't necessarily appreciate some of his celebration and the swagger he brings to the court. And while on the other side of the coin, there's the Central fans and some high school hoops fans who generally appreciate that kind of charisma and that kind of swagger that comes to the court. So I think that was kind of the general idea of the story, to highlight there's two sides to the issue, and also the fact that, Jared Wagner, from just talking to him and some of his coaches and stuff, that he's also just a good person that likes to do is a lot more than just the personality that you see on the court. Obviously, he has a lot of heart and passion for basketball, and he shows that game in and game out, and that's a large part of why Central has been so successful, because he plays with that swagger and that fire and that tenacity that helps Central win a lot of games that people count them out for.
He tipped in a game-winning shot at the buzzer. He went over the crowd and crowd surfed. Honestly, I'm going to say right now for the record, if I did that, I would do something similar. I don't know what I would do, but I would go crazy.
Yeah, it's not like he was just and all his celebrations are, he'll point his finger in the air when he scored his 1,000th point.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard him.
He was pointing to, in fairness, he was pointing to his mom.
Yeah, which is fine. But even if you're not, it's not like he stopped and was beating his chest for 5 minutes. It's very quick things. I've heard him yell before after he makes a big play. I've heard other players yell before they make a big play. He's an intense, fierce competitor. I'm not really a fan of anyone going after somebody on social media, especially when it's not face to face. People aren't even going after his account. They're just making comments about him, which I'm not a big fan of.
Well, yeah, I'm not a big fan of it either, and I'm telling you right now, it happens all the time.
Yeah. Like I said, the point of the story was just to highlight this very
because it's happened to him a lot, though.
But
I thought it was a great story,
and it's also on a bigger picture. It's also something that you see a lot of talk in college sports and pro sports, where people either are very enjoy some of these polarizing figures in basketball or hockey or baseball, and other people, don't necessarily appreciate it and categorize it in a different light. So I think it kind of speaks to a bigger issue too, in the sense that this is not, just a Jared Wagner Central Spring Grove YAIAA thing.
I hear you.
It's a college thing, it's a high school thing, it's a pro sports thing.
And again, on social media, we see it all the time. You have a personality, you're going to be second guessed.
Yeah.
Very true.
Don't pay attention to it. Guys, great show.
Great being
Thanks
here.
for both coming here. You guys are the best. Christian came on real short notice with Brandon under the weather, so greatly appreciated. We're here every single week, 4 to 5 on our live stream, 6 to 7 on the radio dial. Game Day with GameTime PA. Catch you later.
First in York, first in sports. Your only local sports station. The new Sports Radio 1350, WOYK, York, Pennsylvania.